Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, episode 164. Coming up on this episode, Timmins looking good in the Leafs' first preseason win. Klingberg leaves the game with tightness, probably a groin. Looks like the Leafs will have at least two prospects on Team Canada for the World Juniors. And me and Dale, we're going to rank the 7 Canadian teams from worst to the best. All this and more coming up on episode 164 of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Leafs Nation chatty is all horned up for the Cowboy, Easton Cowan, and our boy, Bobby McMahon, jammed up his groin not once, but twice last season, but says his groin is nice and loose now. So we've got a horny Cowboy and a loose groin. Let's hit the intro.
Kamara's coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy mackerel, they score! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Don't forget, follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Tip In Pod.
Oh, easy there.
On Twitter. And email us tipinpodcast@gmail.com. Leave us your questions, comments. We'll get to them right here on the podcast. Dale, what's going on, buddy? Dale's all horned up for the Blue Jays game.
I can't wait
for that.
Well, I mean, they've been losing, right? So we're recording this just as the third game of the series starts with the Yankees here. 7:00 on Thursday night is when we're recording this. So Jay's got to win a couple more here to get in. More on that maybe towards the end of the show here. But I wanted to say, guys, look, please like the video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be bringing you the best Leafs content all season long, guaranteed. We would really appreciate your help in trying to grow the channel. With that, Chatty, I would like to say, did you know that Easton Cowan's nickname is Cowboy?
I did not know that, but I did see him coming into the arena with a glorious Cowboy hat on.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see that? Yeah,
no.
He was wearing, maybe, I don't know if he was coming into the arena. I just saw a picture of it. I figured he was going to the arena, but he had the Cowboy hat on. And it was one of those Cowboy hats that you may have seen in a flick or two back in the day. That's the type of Cowboy hat we're talking about.
What a little beauty this guy is. So we're talking about a Cowboy here. We're also talking about Bobby McMahon, our boy, a.k.a. Vinnie Mac. Bobby McMahon, he did a little presser and he talked about what was plaguing him last season and what his hopes are for this season. Let's just spend a little second here on Bobby McMahon. Here's a little clip of McMahon telling you all about it. Ready, Chad?
I'm ready.
It's keeping that focus and knowing that it will come, and just trusting that I'm doing the right things. And some days it's up, some days it's down, but generally the trend has always been I'm getting better, and that's where I'm at. I think just sticking to my strengths, and I think I know that's my speed, my shot, and just getting in on the forecheck. And that's going to be my bread and butter. That's going to be how I make an impact if I'm able to make the squad, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I think number one was just getting healthy. I wanted to feel good, because when you feel good, you're not thinking about, am I hesitating to take a stride out there? Is it going to hurt this way? Am I hurting this morning when I get up? I think feeling good and then knowing and trusting my skills will take over after that. It was, I think it was in end of October last year with the Marlies. Just took a hit in the boards. Jammed up my groins. One of my adductors slightly tore, and that's just a long process because there's not necessarily a lot of blood flow there or whatever it is. For me, it took a lot of healing, and I had it bothering me all season last year, so I never quite was 100% last year, so that was a battle. And then just took another hit in Long Island there, and same thing happened. It was exact same spot on the ice actually too. Same impact on the boards, and jammed up the groins again. The knee was also in there. There's an MCL on that same hit and the groins, but the groins was what delayed me coming back. The knee healed pretty quick. The groins are what plagued me throughout the summer.
Jeez.
How many times we should have did an over-under on how many times he was going to say groins.
Jeez. Well, I'll tell you what. You want to get the blood flowing to your groin, you put that on right there.
Oh, nice. I love that.
That's the cowboy hat I was talking about. That'll get the blood flowing to the groin.
That's from before he was drafted. That's like junior. That's his okay.
That's the only one I can find, but he's got other ones.
Easton Cowan, the cowboy right there. So there you go. So we got Leafs Nation all horned up for the cowboy, Easton Cowan, who's not going to make the team, folks. Sorry to tell you, he's just not. But Bobby McMahon.
But a good story.
Bobby McMahon and his groin situation. Clearly, he just explained there better than we could ever explain it. And we're groin professionals.
Yeah, no, he's definitely spent a lot of time researching his groin.
So like I said off the top, Chatty, we got a horny cowboy and a loose groin finally for Bobby McMahon. So that's nice to see there. But anyway, so look, is Easton Cowan going to make the team? No, he's not, but more on him a little bit later. Is Bobby McMahon going to make the team? Potentially, not for sure. I would say 50-50 chance at this time. What do you think your chances are? What do you think the chances are of Bobby McMahon? Like, we haven't seen him in game action. I'm expecting he's going to get in this weekend in the back-to-back.
It'll probably be, I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's a little less than that, that he'll actually make the team. Okay. But will Bobby McMahon play on the team this year? 100%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's going to get game action. But yeah, having the groin injury, being a little behind, and not having a locked up roster spot to begin with, it's going to be tough for him. We'll see how it goes, though. You know what it's like coming off a nasty groin injury.
Oh, forget it. There's no blood. No, he said no circulation, no blood flow.
No, if you have blood flow in the groin,
must have been an absolute nightmare for this guy.
That is
in more ways than one. Last season. Like,
would you rather be blind or have no blood flow to the groin?
That's a serious toss-up. Okay, one more thing before we get to some of the headers. Bertuzzi. I don't know how much you've caught of like the pressers the last couple of days or whatever.
Yeah, I've watched some of them.
So Bertuzzi doesn't give. Mark Masters was asking, like, Mark Masters, right? Like some laws out there. Like, he's asking about like how he wears the tongues out of his skates or whatever, like weird shit. Then he gets into like just dumb questions, like just talk about fucking hockey, man. But this one caught my eye. Mark Masters started asking Bertuzzi about how he taped his stick. Did you see any of this?
I didn't see this. Do you have the clip?
No, I don't. I'm just going to have to explain it to you.
Okay.
Bertuzzi said, I don't like to tape my twig. Okay. I don't like to tape the twig, specifically the knob. He puts a little, in the graphite sticks now or whatever they are, like how there's like, they cut it off. So there's like at where the knob would normally be, there can either be a hole or you can patch the hole over. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
So some guys like to put some tape over top of the hole, or some guys just leave it open, whatever. He puts a little strip just over where the hole is. No knob, no tape at all. Nothing.
Really?
Nothing. He puts a little bit of tape on his blade, not the top, he doesn't tape the blade all the way around, just a little bit of tape on the shaft. So just to sum it up before I throw it to you, because I got to get your comments on this. I've been waiting for this all day.
Yes.
He does not tape his knob at all. He refuses to tape his knob, and he only puts a little bit of tape on the shaft. Tell me what you think about that. Did he just go up even higher in our books?
He definitely went. I mean, that's all natural right there. That's what that is. He doesn't like it sticky. That's okay. No, it's not everyone likes a sticky knob and a sticky shaft. Just a little
barely any grip at all.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Just a little bit of tape over the hole.
I couldn't. He just likes to tape the hole.
Yeah,
over, but he doesn't want any fucking tape on his knob, and he just a little tiny bit on his shaft. So this guy, to me, that says this guy likes a loose grip.
Oh yeah,
very loose, like
very loose grip.
Nothing tight about it. Very loose.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything
else?
That's
absolutely legendary on Bertuzzi.
I just
I don't blame him for wanting a loose grip. It can be can be real nice sometimes to have loose grip, just a little bit of tape over the hole.
Some guys like to grip the knob a little tighter, and they wouldn't mind it a little tighter on the shaft too, right?
Some guys go overboard.
Some guys might want to put two hands on it.
Yeah, you can put too much on the knob, too much on the shaft, and it's just too tight.
Too tight.
I like this. I like this Bertuzzi guy.
Well,
I like his hair. I like his tape job.
Matthews was talking about like how it's crazy. He's never seen anything like it. Like he's never seen anybody with like a looser grip. He's like, he's crazy. And he was talking about his flow and like the whole thing. Anyway, it was great. But I had to bring that up because it's just so unusual, but it fits Bertuzzi to a T because he seems like that cat beats to his own drum. That's for sure. Yeah. No tape on the knob, barely minimum on the shaft. I love it. I absolutely love it. Bertuzzi,
shout out.
What a beauty this cat's going to be. So Connor Timmins looks absolutely incredible in the Leafs' first preseason win against the Buffalo Sabres in wherever the hell they were on Wednesday night. Where were they? Just outside of London? I don't even know.
Was it St. Thomas?
Yeah, it's something like that, I think. Joe Thornton Arena or whatever. Would have been nice to see Joe. Was Joe there? I didn't see him. I don't know. Was he there?
I didn't see any of it. If they did like a pregame thing, I didn't see that. But yeah, it was St. Thomas, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're.
Oh no, West Lorne.
Okay, whatever. It was Hockeyville, whatever.
I don't know why I thought.
I don't know. Anyway,
I think West Lorne won, and then they played in St. Thomas. I don't know. I stopped following the Kraft Hockeyville thing. It used to be like a huge thing that everyone would get behind it now.
You know what?
I can't remember who wins or who loses.
I think it would have been super, like very small, very tight arena. I think it would have been super. They did send Tavares. They did send Cowan. They sent Domi, but I think it would have been, it's just outside of London. I think it would have been really cool if they sent all the former London Knights. There was one missing in particular, and that was Mitch Marner. Like, I just think
that's true. Yeah. I never thought about that.
It just would have been cool to be like all the former London Knights. Here you go. They had Domi in the lineup. They had Tavares. They had Easton Cowan. Like, to me, just like it would have been cool to be like all the former guys that played for the London Knights. Here you go. Here's your game. But not how it shook out completely, but they did have a few former London Knights in there. But anyway, the Leafs get their first preseason win. I believe it was a 5-3 victory. Correct me if I'm wrong on the score, but Timmins, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4-point night. He looked incredible. He was letting it go from the blue. I know it's a preseason game, but he was like, if you want to talk about a standout, here's a guy who is the fucking the Connor Timmins show. He's letting it go from the point. Like, what are the chances other than the 7th defenseman? We'll get to Klingberg here in a second, but is the only chance Timmins has here, Chad, is making this roster as the 7th D, barring injury? Or could he potentially, like, I know he's not beating out Klingberg for a spot. That's not what I'm saying here, but where are you at with Connor Timmins? Go ahead.
Look, I'm not going to go crazy because he had one great preseason game, but their defense is pretty weak. Also, they won 5-2.
5-2, sorry.
Yeah, so if we look at it, like, you got Morgan Riley, TJ Brody, Klingberg, McCabe, Liljegren, Giordano, and then Connor Timmins. If you can find somebody to bump out, who is it? That's the question, right? Like, their defense isn't that strong, but he's probably the lowest on that totem pole, I would say.
Like, dude, like, I guess what I would say here is, like, why, and he's going to play. I think he makes it here. I'll say this. He makes
it out of camp, like, playing opening night?
No, I think he, barring injury, no. I think he makes it out of camp as the 7th D.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. I don't even think there's anybody else in the mix for that 7th D spot right now.
You're talking like he's going to play, like,
he's
going to be higher than that?
Well, just let me throw this at you. Like, why? Like, that was a hell of a game. I know it's a preseason game, but guess what? Guess who hasn't had a game like that yet in preseason? Well, I don't know. Your bottom pair, Liljegren and Giordano. So why does Liljegren and Giordano automatically get 5-6 when Timmins got a 4 fucking point night?
It's true. And you know what's funny is people will always be like, well, you know, Liljegren's young, you got to play him, whatever. Like, Liljegren's 24. Timmins is 25. You know what I mean? And they're both
right there. They're right there.
Both right-handed shot defensemen. So yeah, if one of them's not performing, I don't see why Liljegren would get the upper hand. Just because he was a higher draft pick?
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. They both make around the same money. Yeah,
anyway,
okay. I see what you're saying here.
See what I'm saying?
Maybe
Like,
if Liljegren and Gio aren't going and they can't get it going throughout preseason and Timmins keeps this up, maybe he moves into that 5-6 role.
I don't know.
I could see it.
We'll see. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube here, let us know down in the comments below what you think. Liljegren, Giordano, Timmins, who's in the mix here? What are your thoughts? Like, I know you can't decide it off of one game, but he looked really good, and Giordano and Liljegren, when they've played, just you know?
Right, but we're still early into preseason.
100%. But
so let's see, once they make some cuts and once they start playing some tougher opponents, let's see, and things start tightening up, as they say. Let's see how Connor Timmins does. Because last year he had some ups and he had some downs. So
of course, but the guy's had a huge history of injuries, so he's trying to work his way back and stay healthy and all that. So all I'm saying, I'll leave it on this with Timmins, is that look, if this guy continues to have nights like that, how can you ignore it? Like, you got to give this guy a shot. He was a high draft pick that didn't work out because of injuries. Now he's in the Leafs organization.
Yeah.
Give the guy a fucking chance. If he continues to play like that, of course, like you can't ignore that.
He will get a chance to play if he continues this. But at the same time, I don't think his rope is as long as Liljegren's. Like, I think if Liljegren just has decent to above average, like a little bit above average preseason, he'll get that spot.
Okay, so here's where I would go with that, is that this is clearly going to be Giordano's last year in the league. Who knows? They've got Klingberg on a 1-year contract, Brody on an expiring contract. Does McCabe have a year left after this, or is Riley the only one that's got a contract after this season? Like, there's a lot of expiring deals left.
McCabe does.
Okay, so McCabe's got a year left.
And Timmins.
And Timmins, too. So, like, you might want to find a way to, like, especially if he performs like that, Connor Timmins, you might want to find a way to maybe work this guy in. Like, can this guy...
Liljegren's an RFA, so he's basically, like, he's not a UFA. He can't walk away.
No, sure. But, like, would a bottom pair of Timmins and Liljegren be, like, the worst thing? You got to give Giordano, like, how many times have we talked about...
They're both right-handed shots.
I know, but whatever. One of them flips to the other side, and away you go. Like, how many times have we talked about Giordano? Like, you can't play a 40-year-old guy every fucking game for 82 games and expect him to be productive in the playoffs.
We talked about that. We talked about that in our season preview. It's one of the things. Like, by the time Giordano got to the playoffs last year, he was gassed. He was completely done, man.
Nothing left.
Played him into the ground last year. He's 39 years old. So, as we know, anyone listening here who's an aging man, it don't get better as you get older.
No. Over, under, how many games should Giordano play? 60.
Yeah. I would say, no back-to-backs, maybe no West Coast road trips. You know, if they're going out to California for whatever 3 games, just stay in Toronto.
So are you under the 60 or right around
there? I would say that would probably be around there.
20 games off or 22 games off, whatever. Like, that's probably the right amount.
It's the minutes during the game.
Oh, like, he plays hard minutes.
He plays hard minutes, and I love him because he's the one guy on the team. He's blocking shots. Like, he's blocking shots in preseason, man.
I know.
He's out there diving in front of pucks on power plays. He plays hard, and I get why the coach wants to play him.
Of course.
But you got to tone it back. He can't be playing 15, 16, 18 minutes a night.
No, got to be smart about it. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. Klingberg leaves the game against the Sabres with tightness.
Did you see Klingberg doing the interview in nothing but his underwear?
No, I did not. Did not. I wish I would have had that queued up, like Mark Messier behind you for anybody watching on YouTube. It probably wasn't nearly that good, but what do you mean just in his underwear? What do you like? What? No tarp? No tarp?
Yeah, no, like he had a shirt on.
Okay, but
he had a shirt on, but he was just wearing just boxer briefs, but they were super tight and a little bit of a bulge.
No doubt. Okay, look, anyway.
But anyway, they kept showing it on TV, and I'm like, maybe put a closer camera angle there.
He leaves the preseason game against the Sabres on Wednesday night early with tightness. Keefe didn't elaborate on it. He said they were going to reevaluate it today. It was an off day today. We're talking Thursday. We're recording this Thursday night. Probably groin. Clear conclusion. What are we talking about? Tightness. If you're going to have tightness somewhere, where is it going to be?
You're groin.
Think about it. Think about it. So we won't know until
think about it.
We won't know until the weekend where he stands. But if this guy's got, who knows? Who knows what's going on with Klingberg? They've got him penciled in for the top power play unit, but all of a sudden, if he's got a groin injury or if something's lingering out of camp, that opens up a spot for Timmins right there. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on Klingberg, but do you want to chime in on that or no?
No, I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm going to hold all my reservations on Klingberg until we get the season going and I see him, because I didn't like the signing, but the more I I'll say this, what I've seen in preseason so far reminds me a lot of like Jake Gardner. There's a lot of upside there, but god damn, he has a tendency to just go. And why would you wear Justin Hall's old number?
And also Dion.
But last year Justin Hall was the whipping boy in the playoffs.
Two wrongs don't make it right. I don't know. Is Klingberg's number 3 though? I don't know what he previously wore. Maybe that's just his number. I think it is. I think it is actually. But
he has a ton of skill. But man, he makes a lot of crazy plays out there that he goes for.
I'm not sold on Klingberg. I am willing to give the guy a chance on the top power play unit to help that out. But anyway, we'll see. Tightness.
It's so early.
Yeah, it's early, so we'll move on. We'll see. We'll have a further update the next podcast we do on Klingberg. So I'm going to go here. The horny Cowboy. I can't believe I just learned that his nickname was Cowboy. By the way, but yeehaw is absolutely giddy up, motherfucker. Easton Cowan. Everyone's talking about Easton Cowan, like he deserves to be with the Leafs, blah, blah, blah. No, guys, figure it fucking out. He's had a great training camp. He looks awesome. This guy looks like they picked the right kid and he's going to be great for them down the road. This is not the time. He goes back to the London Knights, blah, blah, blah. Same with Fraser Minton. There's another guy. So I was going to lead in here too that it looks like the Leafs will have at least 2 prospects play for Team Canada at the World Juniors, and those will be Fraser Minton and Cowboy, Easton McCowan. Absolute loss.
Cowan.
Easton, what did I say? McCowan, like Jamie McCowan? Jamie McCowan.
He's also a Cowboy.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What a mustache, Jamie McCowan. Whoa. Easton Cowan, Cowboy. So Minton and Cowan, they're going back to their junior clubs. I don't care what anybody says. They're not making this team out of camp. It's not happening.
No.
And
for stories, though.
It's impressive, both of them. But when was the last time, Chad, that the Leafs had not 1 but 2 prospects play for Team Canada at the World Juniors? Because that's where those 2 are headed. Do you not agree?
Sure, but I don't think it was that long ago that this happened.
Well, name them.
I can't name them, but I'm just thinking that it can't be that long ago.
Oh, I think it was a hell of a long time ago. The last Leafs prospect that I remember playing for Team Canada was like Freddie the Goat. Maybe Freddie the Goat.
Well, what about Mitch?
Okay, Mitch.
Mitchie played for Team Canada.
Yeah, Mitch.
Somebody else did. I don't know. If anyone knows in the YouTube comments, can go on Google and look that up. Go ahead. Leave it there. Next show, if you guys have comments or questions, next show, we're going to get into some comments and questions that you leave on the YouTube videos. So put them down there.
All I'm saying is it will be exciting watching the World Juniors with 2 top Leafs prospects potentially leading the way for Team Canada at the World Juniors with Cowan and Minton. I think it's going to be. Do you not think
it's always exciting. We've had a lot of players. I think we've had players in the past that have been like Sweden or USA or whatever, but to have it on Team Canada will be, especially the Cowboy.
Oh my God.
He's probably, if he plays like this, he's not only going to make the World Juniors, he's going to be a player on that team.
Could be a real standout.
It could be too, for sure.
Yeah.
But Easton Cowan looks so good this preseason.
So I think that's going to be super exciting. Anyway, anything else you want to go to before we rank the 7 Canadian teams from who we think is at the bottom to who we think is at the top. Anything else you want to go to
No,
before we do that?
let's get into it.
Why
We got
don't
a
you-
lot of stuff going on here.
Why don't you set
Preseason.
it up?
So we're going to rank the 7 Canadian NHL teams from worst to best. And we're going to start at number 7.
Guaranteed the same for both of us here.
Number 7 for me.
Lacage.
The Montreal Canadiens. Number 7 on my list.
Number
And you know
7
what?
on my
I'm not-
7 on my list.
I don't like the Habs. Obviously, we're Leaf fans.
No.
But this would be my answer even if I wasn't a Leafs fan.
No.
I
They're
think
just
they are the worst team out of the Canadian teams.
Yep, I will say this about the Habs. Like, I think they have some good young pieces there, but they're just nowhere near ready to go. Like, I like some of the young pieces they have there, but they're just the Habs are just they're not there for me. So an easy ranking at number 7. Do you want me to go to 6 or do you want to go to 6?
Yeah, no, you go to 6.
I feel like from 6 to 3, we're going to be all over the place, but I think our 2 and 1s will be the same. We'll see if I'm right because we did not talk about this before we did it. I just threw it at you. I'm like, dude, rank who you think is worst to best of the 7 Canadian teams, and we'll talk about it. So number 6 for me is the Vancouver Canucks. I know a lot of people think that they might take a jump. They got Pettersson and Hughes and Demko in net and whatever, but Rick Tocchet behind the bench, that's hard to ignore too. I do like his hard-nosed style, but I just don't see it with Vancouver. I don't know. I just maybe it's because I know it was only a preseason game. They got pumped by Calgary 10-0.
I know that doesn't
No. But then Edmonton beat them in overtime last night 2-1. So it doesn't. I know it doesn't. You can't.
Yeah.
I know. It just my thoughts
it doesn't
are
look good.
I just don't see Vancouver being there. I don't see them being a playoff team. So number 6 for me is the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, I also had Vancouver at. Yeah, I had Vancouver at number 6. Kind of the same, the 10-0 win or whatever. But it just seemed like there was a lot of stories coming out of Vancouver last year about people not liking it there. And it seems like there's something in the culture right now in the Canuck land that I just don't see the season going smooth, even with Tocchet.
Which is tough. That's tough. Okay, number 5, Chatty. Who do you got?
Number 5.
Here's where things are going to get done. If our list is, we did not talk about this before. If we have it exactly the same, I'm going to be like, come on.
Number 5, I have the Winnipeg Jets.
Oh my God. I have the Jets, dude.
And,
I swear to God.
All right.
The Jets.
I know the Jets they still have good pieces and they're supposed to be.
That team is in shambles. Shambles.
Yeah,
their coach hates them. Rick Bowness hates them.
Rick Bowness hates them. Maybe I'm wrong. Scheifele and Hellebuck have both requested trades out of Winnipeg, right?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So, it can't be going good there. Plus, it's really hard. It's a really hard place to get free agents to go to. So you basically have to make trades to build your team or build through the draft. And I don't know, man. It just doesn't look good. Again, not bad on paper. Same with Vancouver. I don't think Vancouver's terrible on paper. But just something about it is like, this is going to suck this year. Completely
disarray in Winnipeg. How many times did Rick Bowness go to the podium and be like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with these guys. Something's wrong here. They don't have, he basically called them out, no heart. How many times did Bowness call them out?
Oh, he called them out all the time. Didn't he say, someone asked him a simple question about the team and he was like, oh, very high frustration. Very high frustration. He looks like he's gonna have a heart attack when he's talking about his own team. Anyway, yeah.
So we're 3 for 3 on right on the same page now. So here's where it might get a little different. So number 7, Montreal. Number 6, Vancouver. Number 5, Winnipeg. All the same so far. I'm gonna lead us off here with number 4. For me, the number 4 team in Canada is the Calgary Flames.
Oh, okay. We're different.
Okay, so you got the Sens there?
I have the Ottawa Senators there. And okay. I am just not... Okay, you go ahead and talk
Calgary, I mean, leaving and bringing, Conroy in to be the new GM. And I think there's some good things in Calgary. I like Markstrom and net. I like Kadri up front. I think Huberdeau could potentially have a bounce back season. I like some of their the way they play D, whatever. But I just don't see them in the upper echelon. I've kind of got Calgary right in the middle. I think they could do some good things potentially, but I wouldn't be surprised if potentially they miss the playoffs again either. So I'm kind of in the middle with Calgary. That's why I put them at number 5.
Okay. Yeah. No. And you know what? Like, I have them obviously at number 4, and that's pretty much the exact same, right? The only reason I have Ottawa lower is because I'm not fully sold on Ottawa because of last season. I remember last season when they got Giroux and they did all these big things and everyone's like, look out. They didn't make the playoffs and they shit the bed again. So until Ottawa actually does it, I'm not quite sold on it. And we'll see about Korpisalo too.
Same. And so we might as well just combine like our 5s and 4s here. So
exactly. Like you could, I could have put Ottawa 4 and Calgary 5.
Why do you have? Explain why you have Calgary ahead of them, and then I'll give a little bit on why I think Ottawa.
The only reason I have Calgary ahead of them is because Ottawa hasn't shown me anything, but Calgary has. Like I know last season wasn't great for Calgary, but over the last few years, they've just been a team that can make the playoffs when you don't expect them to, and they can get the goaltending to do these, to go on runs, to win games, and they can surprise you with moves that they pull off. Ottawa's just they just haven't done that in 10 years. So I'm just not sold that all of a sudden they're going to come out and be like the 3rd best team in the Atlantic Division. I don't know. It could happen. I hope Ottawa proves me wrong because I want the Battle of Ontario to be back. But until it happens, I'm just not sold on the Sens.
I hear you, man. The reason why I put the Sens 3rd was because I think Brady Tkachuk, like you have a Tkachuk in there who just plays his fucking ass off every night.
He played his ass off last year.
I know, but they're a year older. They still have Giroux coming back. Stützle is a year older. I like their back end. They Chychrun back there for a full season. And with the addition of Korpisalo, I think the Sens are not a lock to make the playoffs, but they definitely will be in the mix in the Atlantic. And I'm going to tell you why just before we go here in a second, because I'm not sure, but
I'm just going to say doesn't this sound like a lot like how people talked about the Sens last year? All the moves they made, and they have Stützle and Brady Tkachuk and all this stuff, and it didn't work out. That's what I'm saying. That's why I place them lower
for sure. Like, well,
what have you done for me lately?
You didn't place them low. Like
they're flip flop.
Like Calgary, Ottawa, flip of coin. One of them could make the play. They both could make the playoffs. They both could miss. It wouldn't surprise me. But
absolutely,
we're ranking the teams here. Here we go. 2
the big 2
and 1. The 2 top dogs. I think we're going to be on the same page here, but maybe not. You want me to go first, or do you want to?
You go.
I'm going to take my homer out of it, and my number 2 team in Canada is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And look, the Leafs, obviously, anybody watching this podcast, you're a Leafs fan, I'm sure. Maybe not everybody, but the truth is the Leafs, over the existence of the core and just subtle changes around it and what have you. Now a new GM, but the same president, all this, yada, yada, yada. They haven't been able to get it done when it really counts. I don't include beating Tampa in 6 games, 1 playoff. Like there's just no success there. I want to see the Leafs do well. I hope they do. I think there's a chance that they could break through and do something special.
Are we talking about regular season though?
No, I'm just talking about who I think is like who I think the best team. Well, yeah, okay, technically yes. I had to go to the playoffs because that's all I know.
I know, but if we're just talking about like the best team, then I'm sorry, it's Toronto. Is the best team, best overall.
I still
Canadian
disagree with that. So who's number 2 for you then? Not Toronto,
the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay, so
the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay,
and that's no slack because they are super close. They are neck and neck. I just think, and I'm taking the playoffs out of
Who
it.
do you? Well, take okay. If you
I'm
want
taking the because of
yeah.
obviously if we put playoffs in, Edmonton's won way more rounds.
Who's
than Toronto,
closer to? Who's closer to? Who's closer to? Okay, I want you to explain what you were about to explain, but just answer this: who's closer to a Stanley Cup, the Edmonton Oilers or the Toronto Maple Leafs? Dude, come on, seriously.
Well, I mean Edmonton. I would say Edmonton's closer to a Stanley Cup, but they are like polar opposites of each other. Not polar opposites, like
they have the two best players on the planet.
They have the two best players on the planet. And then like last year in the playoffs, Edmonton was getting so much from their big guys and nothing from their bottom. The Leafs in the Florida series were getting nothing from their big guys and all from their bottom. So as a team, I think Toronto's the better team. They just need to get their big guys going. And Edmonton, I don't think has as deep a team. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Dude, McDavid, Draisaitl, Connor Brown, Zach Hyman, Nugent Hopkins. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Okay. And then what after that?
Well, go through the Leafs lineup and I'll say the same thing.
I think like if you have a third line and you have like William Nylander centering your third line, I think it's just a little deeper.
Potentially.
Defense wise, I think they're pretty similar, man.
I don't like either team's defense.
Yeah, I don't like either team's defense. And goaltending, I'm not sold on
I don't love either team's goaltending either.
So I think the Leafs have a little bit more depth on forward, so they're the better team.
Okay, fair. That's
playoffs.
fair. Like,
if we're gonna go, who's had the best record, who's gone the distance? Obviously, Edmonton's the best team in Canada.
I just think Edmonton is closer to potentially getting it done than Toronto. That's why I went with them as the best team in Canada over the Leafs. Who's got
more snot? Who's got more snot?
I don't know, man. Like, Kaner's pretty good too, right?
Yeah, Vander Kane is yeah.
Like that guy. Don't like.
Speaking
I think
of Kraft Hockeyville, I saw Vander Kane in Belleville during Kraft Hockeyville at Boston Pizza. So
how long ago was that?
Well, whenever I think he was playing. What did he play? I think it was Ottawa and. I don't know how many years ago. I know the Senators were playing in the game, and it was in Belleville for Kraft Hockey. And I went in, and then right beside me, I was sitting in the bar stools, and right beside me in the booth, all by himself, he came in. And I was happy because I wanted to watch the Ryder Cup on the TV, and they had some like racing going on, like NASCAR. And the waitress wouldn't change the channel, but then Evander Kane asked if they put the Ryder Cup on, and they did it immediately.
Yeah, I bet they fucking did.
So I was like, thank you.
Anyway, look, guys. Okay,
but yeah, that's my rankings. I have Toronto
it's all good.
number 1.
Okay, I have the Leafs at the second best team in the country and Edmonton at number 1. You have the Leafs at number 1 and Edmonton at number 2. So it's, again, flip a coin. Same with Ottawa, same with Calgary. It's like, we'll see. We'll see.
And if we're wrong, it don't matter.
Dude, I love Matthews, Marner, the whole deal, but you know, McDavid and Draisaitl, it's hard for me to like. I think those guys are a little like I just ultimately think that they have a little something different in their DNA than Mitch and Austin. So
they do 100%. But I thought we're talking team.
Yeah, just sure. I think it's very close. Close, and I'm looking forward to the games this season.
They have the better stars, but
potentially we'll see. We'll see.
The Leafs have the better team, but we'll see.
Anyway,
leave the comments below. Let us know how you rank the teams 1 to 7.
I was just going to say that for sure. Leave your comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know if we don't know what we're talking about. Well, we didn't agree on everything. We started out agreeing on like the bottom teams, and then as we got higher, we were like, no.
Because you know what? Like, I don't think you put a lot of thought into the bottom teams. You're just like, okay, Montreal is going to suck, whatever. But it's really tough when you get to Toronto and Edmonton. And I'll be honest with you, like you said, you took your homerism out of it. I was kind of like, well, we're a Leaf podcast, so I might as well say Toronto.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I'm just being more, you know, like what I actually think is like what team might go further and what team could finish higher in the standings and what have you. But anyway, guys, one last thing I'm going to say to you, Chad, is before we go, I know we're running a little long here than normal, but
that's okay.
Andre Vasilevskiy underwent. Don't know if you caught this or not.
I did.
Andre Vasilevskiy underwent back surgery this afternoon. Will miss 8 to 10 weeks. What an absolute blow to the Tampa Bay Lightning. we were talking about Ottawa being potentially a playoff team. That is an absolute huge blow to Tampa. They're a good enough team, I think, to overcome that, but who's fucking playing net for them? That could open a window for a team like Buffalo or for a team like Ottawa. But what I ultimately was going to say there is, what are the chances that Martin Jones gets claimed off waivers because they're going to have to send him down to clear? Like, so basically, like, you can't.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but
you can't send Wall down. You can't lose a young guy that could potentially be your starter. They cannot do it. He will get claimed. But now that Vasilevsky's injured, if there's not a better goalie out there than Marty Jones, is going to have to clear waivers.
Well, that's the thing, though. Most teams have a goalie they have to send down. Not most, but a lot of the teams will. So if there is a better goalie than Martin Jones, he will get claimed. The thing is that, like, once you claim them, then you can send them down to the minors. It's so stupid. So I would just claim. Some team will just be like, I'll take them and throw them down the minors in case we have a goalie injury. Tampa might do that. Anyway, that sucks for Vasilevskiy because he's been the best goalie in the world.
Oh, it sucks for Tampa, really, because they could he might not be back before Christmas. Their season could be over. You don't think that Tampa can win without him?
I think they absolutely. I think they can stay in the fight until.
No, of course I think they can, but I think it's gonna. If it's Brian Elliott playing that, like maybe not. Like
they've never had to deal with this. Like Vasilevsky's been injured before, but not 2 months.
No. So I think it's like, yeah, do I think they'll stay in it and be in the mix? I think so. But I think an injury like this really opens the door for a team like Buffalo, a team like Ottawa to climb up. And who knows, like we'll get in more as we get going towards the end of preseason about where our thoughts of the Leafs potentially winning the Atlantic and all that stuff. But anyway, I think that's about it for tonight, guys. Again, before I throw it to Chad here to sign off, if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. It really helps us out. We will be bringing you all kinds of great Leafs content all season long. Chatty, take it away.
All right, everybody, for the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget to follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment while you're on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter at the Tip In Podcast and email us the tipinpodcast at gmail.com.
Patreon.
Oh, right. And we have our Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, you can donate whatever you want. We have a couple packages there if you want to select one, but if you want to
we got a couple beautiful packages cooking.
Packages there. If you donate a certain amount, we will thank all our Patreon subscribers on the podcast every episode. And for as little as a cup of coffee, you can really help out the show. We invest the money back into the show so that we can keep doing this, because we don't really get anything for doing this. We just do it for the love of the game. That's it. But anyway, for the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
And we will.
Let's go, Blue Jays. Get one of those wild card spots, boys, so we get some postseason baseball in the T-Dot. We'll catch you.
It won't be in the T-Dot.
Well, no, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll be going to Minnesota, or they'll be going to Tampa Bay, one of those things, hopefully. But look, guys, we'll be back. We'll be back to back against the Habs this weekend, Friday night, Saturday night. Chad and I will be back Saturday night to break down those two preseason
Sunday
games.
night.
Saturday night?
Sunday night.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about that one. Anyway, guys, we'll be back sometime over the weekend to break down those two games against the Habs. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Take care. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you later.